Canada could become the 51st US state. Sorry,
If we were to annex Canada as a 51st state, it would come at a great expense to us because Canada has more people than California, but half of California's GDP.
Donald Trump really wants to rename this area the Gulf of America.
Canadians should acknowledge that we are all aware of how unaffordable housing has become.
Canada's going to be the 51st state of America?
We need to be part of U.S.
Oh, sure, because what the world really needs right now is another state, right? Donald Trump recently suggested that Canada should become the 51st state of the United States. He made this grand proposal during a speech at his Mar-a-Lago resort, claiming it would be a win-win for both countries. Apparently, he thinks Canadians are just itching to trade in their maple syrup for apple pie. Canadian leaders, including Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, have brushed off the comments, reaffirming their pride in being an independent nation. Reactions have been all over the place, with some people laughing it off as a joke and others taking it a bit more seriously. What do you think about this whole situation? Let's watch people's reaction.
Trump seems to really want Canada, so I think it's time for a little bit of a new updated geography lesson. Here we go. So obviously, if we look at the map, we have the United States of America, and as previously mentioned, we also have the Gulf of America. That's crazy. Okay, so this here says the other side of the wall. And up here, yeah, we have the 51st state. And we can't forget about Trump land up here. So he's just gonna put a big tower up in Trumplandia, Trumpland, whatever you want to name it. And this says anti-European mode. Listen, gotta have some fun. You gotta crack some jokes. And politics and economics can be very stressful. People can get very angry. Sorry, I just had a little bit of a mispronunciation. But have some fun and enjoy it, you know? Crack some jokes.
We need to be part of U.S.
You'd be happy if we were the 51st state.
Yeah, be thrilled.
I'm not into that. No,
Guys,
no.
we're our own
Country. Yeah, you can't take that from us. Period.
I'm a big, huge, massive Trump supporter.
And do you know what else is massive?
Canada's going to be the 51st state of America? Yeah, no. No. That's straight up not going to happen there, bud. I'll tell you why, because we ain't going to be the ones to tell the hockey fans, you know? You can do that. Yeah, because whoever has to tell the Canadian hockey fans that a Canadian team will never again win the Stanley Cup, oh, it's not going to go down so well. No, no. Actually, can I be there when you tell them? And God forbid you actually invade. Because once you get onto Canadian soil, it's not just the hockey fans you got to deal with. You're then going to have to deal with the moms. And those ladies will literally fight a grizzly bear off their porch with a slipper. So Lord knows what they do to someone invading their soil and, you know, trying to hurt their boys and girls, you know? Yeah. Either way, it's not really going to play out for you, bud. I'd sit this one out if I were you. Anyway, good luck with your invasion. I'll be sat there with a camera, hey?
You're not going to want to believe this because I already fact-checked it and I still can't quite wrap my head around it. But Poppy Seed here pointed out that if we were to annex Canada as a 51st state, it would come at a great expense to us because Canada has more people than California, but half of California's GDP. What? Canada has universal health care, they have paid leave guaranteed for new parents, and their minimum wage is almost double ours. I looked it up and it's true. Canada's GDP per capita, which is economic output per person, is $53,000. California is over $100,000. And in fact, if you ranked Canada compared to all the other states, they would be second to last. Only Mississippi has a per capita GDP lower than Canada, and it's really close. But wait, doesn't that also mean with similar economic policies we could have universal health care, paid leave for new parents, and a higher minimum wage using only Mississippi's per capita GDP? And the best news for Republicans, you're not even the ones paying for it. If you rank the United States by this same metric, the top 5 are all deep blue, and 9 of the bottom 10 are red. Democratic voters are trying to give a better quality of life to all Americans, no matter where they live, and they're trying to pay for it out of their own pockets. Progressive policies are nothing more than economic empathy. It is liberal states producing the wealth for this country, but it's Republican policymakers who have ensured that wealth only goes to billionaires and defense contractors. This is why Republican politicians spread so much economic misinformation. If Republican voters truly understood what we could have if we embraced equitable economic policies, we would never have a Republican president again.
I'm Taylor Simone from Vancouver, BC. With Trump's 51st state remarks, we all know that this is a joke to some extent and that it's meant to be divisive, but I think Canadians should acknowledge that we are all aware of how unaffordable housing has become. We are aware of how young Canadians are struggling in this job market, and we're also aware of our healthcare system. And with America being the biggest economy in the world and the highest GDP in the world, it could make sense in the future to ensure that there are more economic opportunities for Canadians. If we look at the European Union, for example, people are united in economic opportunities there. And if North America combined, we would have a higher and bigger economy for both Canada and the US. And patriotism for being Canadian, that doesn't have to change. So while Trump's comments are meant to be a joke, I think we should think more about the future and hope that Canada gets better.
At the end of 2024, Trump is on record saying that Canada could become the 51st US state. Sorry, give up sovereignty and join the US completely. Yes, I'm sure most Canadians would love that. Even in the last 48 hours, Trump is talking about getting rid of the border between the US and Canada. Let's try to be serious. Now, some think Trump is a bit lacking, if you will, in the IQ points department. But one could argue that this is a very big brain move. The man is playing 4D chess while you probably don't even play chess, but you don't need to build walls and guard borders if there's no borders. You see, big brain, big brain. Okay, so analysis time, jokes aside. Donald Trump is of course a loose cannon, but when carrying out a geopolitical analysis and forecasting what's to come up ahead, we need to be aware that Trump is not the supreme leader of America. That's not the government model used in the States. He's an elected president. He can't ram through everything he wants. He has a Senate and a Congress and the entire US government apparatus to wade through to get his way. That's not to say he won't get what he wants, or on many occasions he might certainly get what he wants, but he won't get everything he wants. There are constraints upon him as well. So we can see what he wants and use that to understand the direction America is going in, even if he doesn't get every single thing that he's yammering on about all the time. But to assume that everything will be done exactly as he wants it on all matters is not the right understanding to have. Now, in this case, in America's home continent relations, meaning the US relations with its immediate neighbors, let's say Canada, Panama, Mexico, that's basically North America, or the majority of it. With America's immediate neighbors, Trump is clearly being very aggressive in his rhetoric, and we can assume this will translate to a notable increase in aggression or hostility when it comes to actual policy as well, even if the reality doesn't end up as insane as his words. He has promised sanctions, massive blanket sanctions on Mexico and Canada, meaning anything brought in from those countries will be taxed, an import fee. Will that make the US government more money? Yes, import fees, tariffs basically, do bring in more money for the government, but it will have a knock-on effect on American consumers, American businesses, and therefore American jobs and American taxes, etc., etc. There's always knock-on effects, guys. It's not just a button you can press. Then every country would just launch itself into tariff mania and make the big bucks, right? Ultimately, tariffs have almost always proven to slow down economic growth for a nation, for the nation that imposes those tariffs, especially nationwide blanket tariffs, because it just makes it harder to do business in the country that's imposed tariffs and still make a decent profit with things being imported. Less profit means slower growth, pretty straightforward. And going back to the American home continent, Panama, of course, has also caught some strays from Trump recently. He's on record talking about potentially taking back control of the Panama Canal from, well, Panama, the country. It's a mess for anyone in the US that wants to play the usual diplomatic game with the expected courtesy and honeyed words, the professionalism. Trump instead just barges in and says what he wants, says whatever's on his mind, and leaves his administration to do damage control and pick up the pieces afterwards. And on Canada being a 51st state. Insane, of course. But I remind you, there was a time when Trump announced he was running for president and millions, literally tens of millions of people across America and the world lolled very hard, day and night, until he won. So here's my geopolitical forecast. With Trump, anything is possible. Grab some popcorn for the next 4 years, because it's about to get very interesting indeed. See you on the next one.
I don't know how we're supposed to take things like Elon Musk tweeting DEI means people die seriously. Like, how are we supposed to take this seriously? It is the most unserious, stupid fucking... Do you know how embarrassing it is that the leaders from fucking Canada are going on Midas Touch and they are talking to the Americans to make sure that we know that Trump is lying to us. Like, somebody else from another country has to come and tell us. They feel like they have to tell you, not me, you who voted for him. They're being lied to. I'm so embarrassed. I can't.
Hey, Donald, have we got a deal for you? You think we want to be the 51st state? Nah, but maybe California would like to be the 11th province. How about it? California, Oregon, Washington? You've got geography in common with us. And not only that, we've already got a carbon trading system between California and Quebec. We've got some strong alliances on our west coast from British Columbia. There's been a lot of academic papers on the idea of Cascadia. So California, Governor Newsom, and Washington State, Jay Inslee, and newly elected Governor of Oregon, Tina Kotek. How about it? Want to put a referendum to your citizens? Because this is what you deal. Have we got a deal for you? This is what you get. Free health care. Universal free health care. No more one-year-olds who suddenly fall off the Medicaid list and their parents are in the news because they're trying to do a GoFundMe so they can get their daughter to a doctor. Universal free health care. And guess what? Those gun laws that your Congress is too afraid to pass because of the national gun lobby, we already got our strict gun laws.
And there you have it, folks. Trump's suggestion of Canada becoming the 51st state has certainly stirred the pot. From Canadians laughing it off to some taking it more seriously, the reactions have been as diverse as the country itself. Whether it's seen as a joke or a genuine proposal, one thing's for sure, it has everyone talking. Social media is buzzing with memes, debates, and a fair share of eye rolls. Some Canadians are playfully imagining what it would be like to have American football and baseball as part of their national sports lineup, while others are fiercely defending their maple syrup and hockey heritage. On the other side of the border, Americans are equally divided, with some welcoming the idea of a northern expansion and others questioning the practicality of such a move. In the end, whether this is just another one of Trump's headline-grabbing statements or a serious proposition, it has sparked a lively conversation. What do you think will happen next? Will this idea fade away, or will it continue to be a topic of discussion in the coming weeks? Stay tuned.